Have you ever wondered why your money isn't flowing? Even though you're working hard, staying connected, and never missing a notification? I mean, we're glued to our phones, right? Checking emails, texting back, setting reminders, swiping, scrolling, charging it next to our heads like it's a lucky charm. But what if your phone, that little rectangle you love, is actually blocking your wealth, your focus, and your energy flow? Yep, Feng Shui says your phone isn't just a tool, it's a gate. And when you treat it wrong, you're not just messing with tech, you're messing with the energy that runs your day. And sometimes, your money. Let me tell you a quick story. Marcus is a designer in Austin. Great guy. Works freelance, does branding, edits videos. And like most of us, his phone was never more than an arm's reach away. He even called it his sidekick. But weird things kept happening. He'd have great client calls then, no follow-up. Payments delayed. Ideas felt cloudy. Sleep got worse. He started waking up more tired than when he went to bed. And one night, it hit him. What if it's not just burnout? What if something around me is stealing my energy? That's when he stumbled into Feng Shui. Not the TikTok stuff, but the real ancient knowledge about how energy flows and how some things quietly trap it. In this video, we're diving into 5 digital Feng Shui mistakes you could be making right now that are messing with your money flow, your lucky energy, and even your sense of peace. If this kind of wisdom speaks to you, if you've ever felt like you're doing everything to stay afloat, and it still isn't flowing, thank you for being here. Feel free to hit like, subscribe, or even drop a comment below. It helps YouTube know you're part of this quiet shift. Let's get into it. There's a quiet kind of noise. The kind that doesn't beep or ring, but it hums right next to your head all night long. That's the energy we forget to check. Marcus didn't think twice about it. His phone lived next to him, always. It charged overnight on his nightstand, right by his pillow. Sometimes even under it. It felt normal. He liked checking emails first thing. He liked the little buzz when a late message popped up. In some weird way, it made him feel important. Like the world still needed him even while he slept. But the mornings started changing. He woke up feeling wired but not awake. His head felt full, his thoughts came in too fast, and none of them made sense. He stopped remembering his dreams, and he started remembering missed invoices, late edits, clients who ghosted. Feng Shui teaches that where you rest is sacred. Your bed isn't just for sleep. It's your reset zone, your energy tank, your wealth recharger. But when a device that never stops buzzing sits inches from your brain, your system doesn't get a full reset. That tiny rectangle holds all the messages, noise, stress, deadlines, and energy doesn't rest when it's on alert. So what happens? You wake up already in fight mode. Your body's still tired. Your thoughts feel scrambled. And your energy? It's already been spent before the day even begins. Marcus didn't notice how it was messing with his sense of self. He just thought he was losing discipline. But truth is, he wasn't lazy, he was leaking. He kept trying to fix it with motivation. More to-do lists, more apps. He even downloaded one of those smart alarm routines that track your REM sleep and play ocean sounds. But nothing changed. He still felt drained, still panicked about money, Still couldn't remember what peace felt like in the morning. And no one teaches us this. How something as small as where your phone rests can be the reason your cash flow feels like a broken faucet. It's like trying to refill a gas tank while someone's quietly siphoning from the bottom. Or sleeping with your front door wide open and wondering why you wake up anxious. We protect our passwords. We don't let people steal our Wi-Fi. But we leave our energy line wide open. Every night, right by our heads. Marcus looked this up after a friend joked, "Bro, your brain's probably glowing from that overnight charging." Turns out, there's real data. Phones emit EMF, electromagnetic fields, when plugged in, especially during charging. When placed near your head during sleep, this can affect melatonin levels, brain rest, and nervous system balance. And if you're already stressed about work or money, you're just doubling down on chaos. So Marcus made one tiny shift. He started charging his phone across the room. Not on the dresser, not even on the desk. He bought a $7 stand and set it next to the window far away. He replaced his alarm with a little sunrise clock. And the first thing he saw in the morning? Daylight, not deadlines. It didn't fix everything overnight, but the difference was weirdly real. He slept better. He stopped jumping straight into emails. He started having one clear thought at a time. And slowly, clients started following up. Money stopped disappearing. And energy started building again, quietly but surely. The nightstand was never the enemy. But that phone, it was like an over-caffeinated roommate. Loud, dramatic, and definitely not invited to bed. Sometimes, the best Feng Shui trick is this. Give your energy a little space to breathe. You can't receive money flow. If you're still vibrating in stress mode before sunrise, energy flows best in spaces where you're not trying to control everything. Sometimes, you move one thing and expect the energy to shift. But if the gate's still jammed, no amount of fixing inside will open the flow. Marcus felt lighter since moving his phone away from the bed. He stopped waking up frantic. But for some reason, the morning still felt crowded, like the day was rushing in too fast. There was this weird tension. From the moment he stepped out of his bedroom, emails again, DMs, group texts, even a couple of scam calls before 8 a.m. It wasn't even about what the phone showed. It was just there, sitting on the little table by his front door. Always waiting, always glowing. That tiny device became the first thing he touched. Before stepping into the world, like checking in with stress, before checking in with himself. Feng Shui teaches that the entrance of your home is where energy enters. It's not just for shoes and packages. It's where money, luck, and opportunity decide whether to come in or stay out. And when the first thing you place there is something overloaded with info, stress, noise, and demands, you're telling the universe, hey, bring all the clutter straight to me. The entryway sets the tone. If it's clean and open, energy flows in clearly. If it's heavy, digital, buzzing with alerts, wealth and lucky flow get redirected elsewhere. Marcus didn't mean for his door to feel like a customer service counter. But every morning, he opened the door holding his phone in one hand, keys in the other, already scanning notifications. He started the day in defense mode. Not receiving, not breathing, just reacting. There was no space to dream. No room to feel rich. Just that pressure to catch up with things he hadn't even agreed to yet. He wasn't building wealth. He was chasing digital emergencies. And his space knew it. It's like setting up a noisy vending machine right in front of your meditation zone. Or like opening your mailbox every morning to find junk flyers, overdue bills, and spam. You start associating the door with stress, not possibility. Marcus thought he was staying connected, but he was really setting the tone for stuck energy before the day even began. One weekend, Marcus met up with his cousin, a guy who was way into old-school Feng Shui and woodwork. They got to talking about energy at home. His cousin explained, "Phones near the door are like placing an energy interrupter at your gate. They create little zones of static tension, especially when plugged in or active. Instead of inviting calm, they invite overwhelm. Not to mention, if you keep seeing bad news or stress-heavy messages near the door, your body starts associating coming and going with panic and pressure. That's the kind of thing that kills cash flow before it even gets a chance to grow." So Marcus made a choice. He moved the phone charger to the side cabinet inside the living room, far from the entrance. He added a little dish for keys, a small plant, and a ceramic bowl for coins and good luck tokens. No digital items allowed near the front anymore. And every morning, instead of grabbing the phone, he took 3 deep breaths facing the door, sometimes with the window open, sometimes just quiet. It was simple, but suddenly, mornings started feeling rich. There was space to think. His client meetings got less chaotic. He even landed a new contract that week with a guy who told him, "Man, you just feel more grounded than the last time we talked." Turns out, the door wasn't just a door. It was his money portal. And he'd accidentally installed a 24/7 notification gatekeeper. Sometimes the best Feng Shui tip? Unplug the welcome mat. When the first thing energy meets is noise, it usually walks away. Sometimes the noise isn't around you. It's inside you, echoing voices, opinions, fear, and urgency that were never yours to carry. And most of it came through your phone. Marcus started noticing how quiet his space had become. The bed felt restful. The doorway felt clearer. But inside his mind, there was still a rush. Thoughts sped up in the shower. Deadlines felt closer than they were. Sometimes he couldn't remember if an idea was his, or something he'd read that morning in someone else's post. He wasn't just checking updates anymore. He was absorbing people, absorbing their stress, absorbing the energy of entire lives he wasn't living. And it hit hardest during lunch, when things slowed down, when no one was texting, and his phone just sat there, blank screen, while his thoughts kept spinning. He wasn't alone, but he didn't feel present either, like he was being lived through instead of actually living. Feng Shui isn't just about objects. It's about imprints, the way energy leaves marks. And phones, they carry imprints of everything. Voices, timelines, conflicts, fears, unfinished loops. Every time Marcus scrolled, swiped, checked, tapped, his personal chi shifted a little. Not all at once, but slowly, like a faucet dripping identity down the drain. In Feng Shui, your mind is also a room. And when it's filled with borrowed energy, wealth has nowhere to land. Because money likes clarity. Cash flow likes direction. But his mind had become a crowded inbox, filled with noise that didn't belong. Marcus thought he was losing focus, but it wasn't focus. It was space. There was no room left to hear himself, to feel hunger, to remember a dream, to notice the energy of a morning without input. He was walking around full of other people's opinions, other people's drama, other people's lives. And slowly, he started losing interest in his own. He wasn't building his future. He was managing energy that didn't even belong to him. And it felt exhausting. Not in a loud way, but in a way that made everything meaningful feel slightly out of reach. It's like trying to cook a beautiful meal in a kitchen filled with someone else's dirty dishes, or trying to plan your dream vacation while listening to 100 strangers complain about the weather. You lose track of your own vision. You can't taste your own intentions. You're always reacting, never creating. And that's what Marcus was caught in. A loop of digital energy that didn't leave space for wealth to breathe or lucky flow to land. If this is hitting close to home, if you've ever felt like your mind is busy but not alive, and your phone keeps pulling you away from your own center, this channel's here for you. Drop a comment. Tell me if this has ever been you. And if it helps, hit like or subscribe. You're not alone. This kind of awareness shifts things. Let's breathe together in this. Marcus started journaling after hearing a podcast about attention fatigue and nervous system clutter. The speaker wasn't a doctor, just a teacher who taught breathwork. She explained, "Every time we take in information, we're storing energetic load. Even scrolling without reacting burns mental fuel. And when your brain gets full of unprocessed content, it starts flagging everything as unfinished. You walk around in low-grade alert, always chasing resolution that never comes. That's why people feel drained after doing nothing, because their energy was never resting. It was digesting chaos the whole time." So Marcus made another shift. He created content-free hours. Every day from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. no apps, no feeds, no news, only messages from real people. Everything else could wait. He also began clearing his energy inbox each night. Not with meditation, but with a little ritual. He'd place the phone in a drawer, write down 3 things he actually wanted to think about, and light a single tea candle before bed. He gave his own mind a seat at the table, and within a week, he started waking up with ideas again. Clients noticed he was sharper. Money didn't feel blocked. It felt in reach. Not because of hustle, but because he was finally present enough to receive it. The mind isn't a hard drive. It's a garden. And gardens don't grow well with 1,000 voices shouting into them. Sometimes the best Feng Shui tip? Give your brain a chance to be yours again. Cash doesn't flow into confusion. Energy needs room. So does your own voice. There's a kind of prison you don't see, because you built it yourself. One scroll, one alarm, one habit at a time. And in Feng Shui, anything repeated without awareness becomes a ritual that blocks flow. Marcus thought he was getting better. He had pulled the phone from the nightstand. He had cleared the doorway. He had carved out content-free hours. But something kept tugging. Every day still ended the same. A routine that felt like control, but tasted like quiet dread. He'd finish work, make dinner, open his favorite app just to relax, and begin the loop. Mindless videos, news recaps, a dozen opinion threads, a few minutes in photo memories. Then, out of nowhere, 3 hours gone. He didn't feel bad, but he didn't feel refreshed either. And worse, he couldn't stop. It wasn't joy. It wasn't even rest. It was a trance disguised as routine. In Feng Shui, rituals shape reality. But rituals without intention? They trap qi. They reroute your luck into loops. They freeze your wealth in patterns that look familiar, but feel stuck. Marcus was repeating digital habits that told his energy, stay inside, stay still, don't expand. The algorithm wasn't the only thing keeping him on the same page. His body began to expect it. His mind began to surrender to it. And the energy that once flowed through his creativity, his ambition, his lucky breaks, all got tied up in a soft, quiet loop of passive input. Money didn't leave, but it couldn't find a space to land because Marcus stopped showing up for his own life. This was the part that scared him the most. Not the burnout, not the tiredness, but the realization that he had slowly unplugged from himself. He had traded aliveness for autopilot. He still met deadlines, still showed up to meetings, still replied to messages. But the spark wasn't there. That inner yes that used to dance when an idea popped up. That quiet knowing of, this is what I'm here for. It got silenced. He began mistaking numbness for calm. And that is one of the deepest traps. Because once you lose the ability to feel joy clearly, you also lose your compass to money, to luck, to direction. It's like walking the same hallway every night, believing it leads to a different room. Or cooking the same dish, expecting new flavors, just because you used a different plate. Marcus wasn't bad at life. He was just stuck in a phone-fed trance that dulled his awareness and quietly drained his future. And it wasn't loud. That's what made it dangerous. Marcus didn't read some academic paper. He watched a YouTube video from a woman who had quit social for 30 days. She talked about dopamine loops, how the brain gets trained to chase stimulation, but loses sensitivity to real joy. It's not addiction in the traditional sense. It's nervous system fog, a numbing of the senses, the spark, the drive. And in Feng Shui language, this means your internal qi stops moving, which means your external wealth stalls too. Not from lack of effort, but from lack of inner clarity. So Marcus decided to break the trance. He didn't delete all his apps. He just redesigned the final hour of his day. He made a rule: nothing scrollable after 9 p.m. He charged his phone in the kitchen. In its place, he kept a notepad and a deck of idea cards he made himself. Each card had a simple prompt. What do I want to feel tomorrow? What energy do I want to invite in? What's one money move I've been avoiding? He didn't always write deep answers. Sometimes just a word. But that was enough. That was presence. And within a week, his sense of direction returned. He had more creative output. He got a surprise payout from an old contract. And for the first time in a long time, he went to bed without noise inside him. The trance didn't need a warning label. It just needed a bedtime. Sometimes the best Feng Shui trick isn't deleting everything. It's simply choosing where your day ends. Money needs you awake. Energy needs you present. Rituals need you in them, not lost behind them. Energy can't flow when your attention's always leaking. And Feng Shui doesn't just care about your stuff. It cares about where your focus lives. Because where your focus goes, your money follows. Marcus had fixed the big things. The bed, the door, the scrolling. He even carved quiet hours. But his energy still felt thin. Like cash flow kept slipping between cracks he couldn't see. And then one afternoon, it clicked. He was walking to grab groceries. But in the first 10 minutes, he had checked weather, news, a calendar alert, and responded to 2 short texts. He couldn't remember how the sky felt. He couldn't tell you the smell of the sidewalk after rain. His body was there, but his energy wasn't. It was split, scattered, spinning. He realized he hadn't had a fully present moment in days. Just micro reactions. All day. Everywhere. Feng Shui sees attention as qi. Where you send it becomes your life. And every time you react instead of respond, you open a leak in your energy field. Just a tiny one. But enough of those, and your wealth flow gets scrambled. Your lucky timing misfires. Your energy turns from a river into drizzle. That's how people burn out without doing much. They spend all day leaking attention into alerts, headlines, distractions, other people's urgency. And those leaks? They cost you real-life money. They drain your creative luck. They trap you in constant, almost. This part hit Marcus hard, because it wasn't about hustle anymore. It wasn't about being lazy or unfocused. It was about feeling like his life was being lived in the margins. Like all his best energy got spent before he even reached the work that mattered. He started noticing how often he'd stop mid-sentence to just check one thing, or how many times he'd lose a good idea because a random notification pulled him away. He wasn't choosing his flow. He was letting his phone choose it for him. And that was the moment he decided it had to stop. Because you can't build wealth on a foundation of distraction. It's like trying to save money while leaving the faucet on all day, or lighting a candle and wondering why the wind keeps blowing it out when the window was never closed. Marcus wasn't failing. He was just wide open to everything that wasn't him. And when you stay open to everything, you stop becoming a vessel for anything real. Marcus didn't need research at this point. He already felt it. But a friend texted him a video clip from a mindfulness coach. The guy said, "If you respond to 60 things a day that don't belong to your path, don't be surprised when your path feels confusing." That landed deep, because Marcus was still letting noise shape his nervous system, still checking things out of habit. Even after clearing the space, the energy wasn't in his space anymore. It was in his behavior. That's the feng shui no one talks about. The ritual of attention. So Marcus made one final shift. He started using choice entry. Every time he reached for the phone, he asked, "Do I need this, or am I just filling space?" He created an energy gate. Every hour, 5 minutes offline. No app, no reply, no input. Just silence walk, breathe, sit, stretch. He moved his most important work to the first 2 hours of the day before any digital contact. And he named this block Wealth Hours. He protected it like it was rent money. And guess what? That week, a past client resurfaced. Then 2 referrals showed up. Then someone Venmo'd him back for an old invoice he'd given up on. And more than all that, He felt available to life again. Clear, quiet, grounded, with space for lucky flow to land. Turns out the phone never stole his time. It just borrowed little pieces of his soul, 5 seconds at a time. Sometimes the best Feng Shui fix isn't about cleaning more, but leaking less. Where your energy goes, your money grows. Choose it like you choose your breath. So maybe it's not the phone that's the problem. It's what we've let it replace. Our stillness, our clarity, our right to choose how energy enters our life. Marcus didn't change everything overnight. He didn't throw his phone away. He just started seeing it differently. As a gate, not a god. And when you start choosing when to open that gate, instead of letting it swing on its own, that's when wealth begins to notice. That's when your chi returns. That's when lucky flow starts to land again right where you are. If this story shifted something in you, if any part of it felt familiar, or strangely quiet in your chest, you're not alone. We're all figuring out how to live in a world that never stops buzzing. So thank you for letting this be a soft interruption, a pause that gives back. Feel free to like, subscribe, or leave a comment below if it helped. Even just an emoji. It helps this kind of healing wisdom keep flowing to more people, more spaces, and maybe even back to you when you need it again. Your space speaks. Wisdom listens.